But light is not enough. Light is for the sake of life. We too must have life in ourselves. We too must, like the life himself, live. We can live in no way but that in which Jesus lived, in which life was made in him. That way is to give up our life. This is the one supreme action of life possible to us for the making of life in ourselves. Christ did it of himself, and so became light to us, that we might be able to do it in ourselves, after him and through his originating act. We must do it ourselves, I say. The help that he has given and gives, the light and the spirit working of the Lord, the Spirit in our hearts, is all in order that we may, as we must, do it ourselves. Till then we are not alive. Life is not made in us. The whole strife and labor and agony of the Son with every man is to get him to die as he died. All preaching that aims not at this is a building with wood and hay and stubble. If I say not with whole heart, My Father, do with me as thou wilt, only help me against myself and for thee. If I cannot say, I am thy child, the inheritor of thy spirit, thy being, a part of thyself, glorious in thee, but grown poor in me. Let me be thy dog, thy horse, thy anything thou willest. Let me be thine in any shape the love that is my Father may please to have me. Let me be thine in any way, in my own or another's in no way but thine. If we cannot, fully as this, give ourselves to the Father, then we have not yet laid hold upon that for which Christ has laid hold upon us. The faith that a man may, nay, must put in God, reaches above earth and sky, stretches above the farthest outlying star of the creatable universe. The question is not at present, however, of removing mountains, a thing that will one day be simple to us, but of waking and rising from the dead now. When a man truly and perfectly says with Jesus, and as Jesus said it, Thy will be done, he closes the everlasting life circle. The life of the Father and the Son flows through him. He is a part of the divine organism. Then is the prayer of the Lord in him fulfilled. I in them, and thou in me, that they may be made perfect in one. The Christ in us is the spirit of the perfect child toward the perfect Father. The Christ in us is our own true nature made blossom in us by the Lord, whose life is the light of men, that it may become the life of men. For our true nature is childhood to the Father. Friends, those of you who know or suspect that these things are true, let us arise and live. Arise even in the darkest moments of spiritual stupidity, when hope itself sees nothing to hope for. Let us not trouble ourselves about the cause of our earthliness, except we know it to be some unrighteousness in us, but go at once to the life. Never, never let us accept as consolation the poor suggestion that the cause of our deadness is physical. Can it be comfort to know that this body of ours, because of the death in it, is too much for the spirit, which ought not merely to triumph over it, but to inspire it with subjection and obedience? Let us comfort ourselves in the thought of the Father and the Son. So long as there dwells harmony, so long as the Son loves the Father with all the love the Father can welcome, all is well with the little ones. God is all right. Why should we mind standing in the dark for a minute outside his window? Of course we miss the inness, but there is a bliss of its own in waiting. What if the rain be falling and the wind blowing? What if we stand alone, or more painful still, have some dear one beside us, sharing our outness? What even if the window be not shining because of the curtains of good inscrutable drawn across it? Let us think to ourselves, or say to our friend, God is. Jesus is not dead, Nothing can be going wrong, however it may look so to hearts unfinished in childness. Let us say to the Lord, Jesus, art thou loving the Father in there? Then we out here will do his will, patiently waiting till he open the door. We shall not mind the wind or the rain much. Perhaps thou art saying to the Father, thy little ones need some wind and rain. Their buds are hard. The flowers do not come out. I cannot get them made blessed without a little more winter weather. Then perhaps the Father will say, comfort them, my son Jesus, with the memory of thy patience when thou wast missing me. Comfort them that thou wast sure of me when everything about thee seemed so unlike me, so unlike the place thou hadst left. In a word, let us be at peace, because peace is at the heart of things, peace and utter satisfaction between the Father and the Son, in which peace they call us to share, in which peace they promise that at length, when they have their good way with us, we shall share. Before us, then, lies a bliss unspeakable, a bliss beyond the thought or invention of man, to every child who will fall in with the perfect imagination of the Father. His imagination is one with his creative will. The thing that God imagines, that thing exists. When the created falls in with the will of him who loved him into being, then all is well. Thenceforward the mighty creation goes on in him upon higher and yet higher levels, in more and yet more divine airs. Thy will, O God, be done. Naught else is other than loss, than decay, than corruption. There is no life but that born of the life that the Word made in himself by doing thy will, which life is the light of men. Through that light is born the life of men, the same life in them that came first into being in Jesus. As he laid down his life, so must men lay down their lives, that as he liveth, they may live also. That which was made in him was life, and the life is the light of men. And yet his own, to whom he was sent, did not believe him.